Hey everybody, sorry I'm about a minute behind getting online here live. I had a cord issue that it was actually like hidden somewhere in my studio, which of course is exactly where I left it, but occurred to me right before I was ready to go live that I needed to find the cord. I hope you guys all had a great weekend. I was lucky enough to spend some time with one of my best girlfriends at our lake house, just the two of us, carefully distancing. But we got some great girl time in, watched some movies. We did some work, you know, she had homework to do and so did I, but it was just a really nice, relaxing, and beautiful spring weekend. It's so nice to have some of these warmer temps showing up. Let's hope that snow last week was the end of it. All right, I'm gonna flip the camera here so that we can get going. And I work on my zooming. Come on, zoom. There we go. Okay, and sorry for the jitteriness until it gets set on its thing there. I need to make sure we're... There we go. I think that's fairly straight. Okay, so just a couple things off the top of my head. There's going to be a retirement announcement for the current annual catalog on Wednesday. I will be sure to share that with you guys. That new catalog will come out live beginning of May, sort of. I believe it's May. Let me just grab mine quick. So the current run goes through May 3rd. There we go. So the new one will go live May 4th. So this one here will be done again on May 3rd. The retirement announcement will be coming out this week. This is a good reminder, even before that hits, that if you have any of the current line of in colors that's going to be retiring, this would be a very good chance to pick up any extra cardstock or ink refills or anything that you have that you want to keep going with. Rococo Rose cardstock is already sold out, so that one is already gone. The other ones would be Pretty Peacock, Purple Posy, Seaside Spray, and Terracotta Tile. So if you have any of those that you are still in love with and want to keep using, make sure you get those orders in. Hi Kathy, hope you're having a good day. Get those orders in, I would say probably by Tuesday to me, or like tomorrow basically. Let's get them ordered before the retirement list goes out, because once that goes out and everybody knows it's disappearing, those are the things that go the fastest, are the in-color collections and the designer series papers, because it's probably very likely that almost every designer series paper you see in here will retire along with the catalog. They very, very rarely carry over one of those. So again, if there's one of those that you're in love with, make sure you stock up on it before it disappears, because once the list comes out, everything except stamp sets is basically as supplies last. So they won't produce any more of them. Whatever they have in stock at that time is what they have. So, all right, that's my little tip for the catalog for this week. Let's see. Here's a reminder of what you guys should be having handy for tonight's project. You're going to have a card base that's 5.5 by 8.5, and you're going to score it 4 1/4. And then I said pick a layer of the same color as a base of 4 by 5 1/4. You should have a square of DSP, some kind of printed paper that's 3 by 3, and then a coordinating layer of cardstock for that that's 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. So those are the specific measurements I gave you. Then I also said you should have on hand some ribbon, and then any other accessories that you might like to have. Good job, Mom, got it. Help get you stamping along with me, that's awesome. So you're gonna have some ribbon handy, and then any other accessories you might want if you wanted rhinestones or pearls or any other kind of bling. And then if you want phrases on it, I recommended a larger sized, a little bit larger sized stamp, about 1 by 2.5, I think is what I said. So, all right, are we ready to get started? All right, I have my sheet. I'm using white, our new basic white, for the base of mine. And again, I scored that and I already folded mine at the 4 1/4 line. And then just to have a little bit of dimension, I do sometimes like to do a tone-on-tone look. I'm going to tell you now, I borrowed this layout from a fellow demonstrator whose name is Heather Reigert. I got a swap from her with this layout on it, and I absolutely liked it. It's quick and simple, but yet effective. So I would recommend popping up this layer with some dimensionals if you have them handy. Otherwise, you can always do that later. Don't worry about it. All right, I can take off my pieces like that. One more. There we go. Okay. And that's literally just going to go tone on tone on the front. Like I said, it gives it a little bit of a dimension, but it still keeps the same color scheme. So you kind of have, like on screen right now, I'm sure you're going, it doesn't look any different to me. But when you have it in front of you, you can tell that layer is raised up. All right, so I am using a pattern from the wood. I can find it in the catalog for you because it's such a pretty package of paper, and that if this was one that would be carrying over, I would absolutely love it. But like I said, they very rarely carry a pattern over. It's this one right here, In Good Taste Designer Series paper. It's kind of like a bulk pack. You actually get 24 sheets instead of the usual 12, and double-sided, so you're ending up with 2 each of 12 double-sided designs for 24. So there's more variety and a larger number of sheets themselves. One side has all kinds of textile patterns. They actually went and took pictures of like flooring samples and tile samples and stuff like that on the one side. And then the other side are really fantastic wood grains. I love this paper for especially masculine patterns and stuff, but it's just really, really lovely all on its own. So here I'll show you, there's the wood grain side of mine, but I'm going to use this one that kind of looks like bathroom or backsplash tile. All right, so just put a little adhesive on the back. Hey Tina, oh, spin class, I hope that was fun. I myself was up there earlier climbing some stairs, so I'm ready to be done with legs for now. All right, you're gonna layer that on there on your 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. Now here's where you have some options for ribbon. If you are a person who's not good at if you are good, I should say, at doing knots and bows, this is what you're gonna do. I take about a 12-inch piece and we're gonna wrap around. And for when I do a bow, I do like to make sure I have a really good knot in place, like so. So 12 inches is really good for a knot. If you want a bow, I would go a little bit longer. Probably another inch or 2 at least. Okay, so there is my knot wrapped all the way around. Okay, and I'm just gonna trim off what I don't need here with my scissors. Okay, now if your fingers are a little bumbly, like mine are sometimes, and that's a little difficult to maneuver, I have another option for you. So here's another piece that's 3 1/4. I didn't bother doing a layer on this, as this is just a sample for you guys to see. I wouldn't even bother cutting any length of ribbon at first. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a glue dot on one end, stick it around the back side, and adhere it down. Stretch it across, and then cut off a little tail that goes over the edge. I don't know why I bother capping the scissor every time I use it. It's just habit, I guess. And then take another glue dot to that end and pull across like so. Okay, so there's your part for across. And if you're finding it like these aren't sticking down very well with just that glue dot, honestly, sometimes I really just grab my regular Scotch tape and just do that. They'll stay nice and secure with big pieces of Scotch tape, and nobody will ever see them because they're on the back. Okay, then what I would do is I would take another length of the ribbon, probably like 3 or 4 inches long. I'm just gonna eyeball mine. Tuck it under, and then do your knot. So you're gonna end up with a very similar look, 2 different pieces of ribbon, but it's easier on your fingers. Okay, so there is that, and you probably can't even tell the difference between which one is which. So again, if you're, like I said, sometimes my fingers don't really want to work, or the ribbon is just too thin and my fingers are too big to get in there, go with this kind of option. 2 different pieces, it still works out really well. If you wanted to do the same thing with a bow, you absolutely could. Tie the bow and then stick it on the glue dot over that piece right there, and again, it looks like you've tied a bow across it. Okay, so hopefully that was a good tip for anybody who might need that. All right, then we're gonna take, oh, you know what I forgot to do for you guys? I forgot to tell you to stamp this before we attached it. I think we can still manage to hold on to that. There's always one step that I'm gonna forget, and shoot, that was a good one. Okay, I am using Misty Moonlight. Misty Moonlight is kind of a background color in some of these tile patterns along with the Night of Navy. So that was also Misty Moonlight ribbon I'm using. Now, if you're looking for some good phrase sentiments, I would recommend for sure one of these two. Peaceful Moments is in the annual catalog right now. That's what I'm going to be using tonight. I took the Thinking of You with All My Heart. There's a lot of great coordinated phrases in here. Birthday, sympathy, thank you, with some inside verses as well. I love when you can do fronts and insides of cards. And this is very, very similar concept. Fronts and insides of cards, cute little fonts. It's called Happy Thoughts, and it is in the January to June catalog. Highly recommend either one of these in case you're looking for something that's just words. Sometimes you get lots of great images, then not necessarily words. All right, I'm gonna aim this down towards the corner, like so. All right, so you can see on that panel, white panel, that's about where I put mine. If your cardstock that you used as your base is too dark to stamp on, I would recommend cutting a piece of scratch paper out in a neutral color that matches and just do a rectangle that fits your size of your phrase and add it to that corner part. And then same thing for the inside. If you have a dark piece of cardstock, cut another 4 by 5 1/4 panel for that inside, and then you can stamp on that when you're done. Okay, well hopefully that is the one step, only one step that blanked out on my mind tonight. It's been one of those days where everything's taking me a little longer than usual for each step, and by the time I got to this part at night, I'm kind of, I always like to say I'm done braining. So that's one of our good phrases around here. All right, so you're gonna take your 3 1/4 piece, add some adhesive to the back. Because we've already popped up the base layer, I'm not gonna pop up this one. And you're gonna fill in the empty space between where your phrase is and where your square ends up. Okay, so there is mine. So Thinking of You with All My Heart with that lovely blue. So this is Night of Navy. This is Misty Moonlight, and I used Misty Moonlight for the phrasing as well. So those are a really nice pair together. A little bit lighter version of a navy in the Misty Moonlight. All right, now I'm gonna show you, set this to the side here, the inspiration card. So this is the one that Heather made. So you can see same concept. I did my bow on the other side, but otherwise basically I copied her layout practically exactly. And you'll see she's got the happy birthday. That's from the Happy Thoughts. So I wanted to show you both of those collections. I'm also gonna show you, I did one step down of something that she did. If you can see that base layer, well, maybe not. It's a very, very delicate texture. She embossed with the Tasteful Textiles embossing folder. So that added just a little bit of texture to it. And you're gonna wanna stamp first before you run that through. Because if you do something after you run it through, for example, I'm gonna show you one here. This is one of the flower pieces or backgrounds. If you try to stamp after, all of those little raised parts are the only parts that are gonna collect the ink. So you definitely wanna stamp before you emboss. All right, so I'll show you where that piece went then. Stamped before I embossed it. There it is. You can actually read the whole word thank you this time. This paper is Ornate Garden. I did the reverse of the dimensionals on this one. I popped up the 3 1/4 layer instead of just my 4 by 5 1/4. And I added an extra piece of ribbon into the knot to show off this is a ribbon pack you can get together. It's terracotta and olive. And I like using those little skinny ribbons. They're about 1/4 inch wide. That's one of my favorite lengths to work with. So the Ornate Garden DSP with terracotta and olive ribbon, and that's very vanilla as the base. All right, then I'm gonna show you guys another one I did with the doggies. Aren't they adorable? All right, so this is, I'm taking it another step. I also did still texturize this layer with the subtle embossing folder. I actually have 2 layers behind here. So the red is the 3 1/4, and then there's a layer of black that's 3 1/8 square. And then I used my 3 by 3 DSP, and then I also took just a little tiny bit of another one to kind of act as a grounding space, because I knew I wanted to use the actual dog on the DSP with just the cute little dog backgrounds. The doggy paper has, it's actually there's cats and dogs in it, but the die set is designed to cut out the stamped image as well as DSP images. So all I did was cut that out of the DSP. I cut him out of the DSP as well, and as you can see, he was on an edge of the paper, so I had him, instead of a phrase down here, I threw another doggy. So that it looks like he's just kind of peeking out there. And I used, again, 2 different ribbons. These are ones that come in the dual pack. You get the striped with the red with the white stripe running through it, and you get the black and white twine together in a pack. And it's Playful Pets. And I'm going to find the page for you really quick. Whoops. Because I didn't get that marked beforehand like I had meant to. Okay, pets, where'd you go? Playful Pets. Okay, I'm gonna try again this way. Like I said, my brain apparently seems to be done for the day. Pampered Pets, there we go, and I believe Playful is there we go. So there is the stamp set. 2 dogs, 2 cats, and some phrasing. And then here's all the accessory portions. So you've got the really cute DSP that has cats and dogs and other images attached to it. And then the rest of the suite includes the twine and the ribbon, and there's little charms that are dog bones or fish tail, like fish bones, I believe. So super, super cute if you have anybody in your family or friends who are big dog people or cat people. Okay, I wanted to point out that along with this layout, you can use the exact same measurements and then turn it the other way. So if you would rather make a horizontal card instead of a vertical card, you could do it this way. Because we used a bigger phrase down here, we don't necessarily have quite the right, you could have a tinier phrase. I think that would fit here as long as it's nice and skinny. I chose the option to use the classic label punch along with a little phrase, which I got from Itty Bitty Greetings, another stamp set I would think a lot of you already have in your collections. Mine is actually so old, it still is mounted on wood. We don't even make it in the wood anymore. But I love this little set. It's got something for just about every occasion, and it's the perfect just little touch of words. Every once in a while you want something that's just a little bit. Love it, love it, love it. Oh, Carol, I'm so glad. I figured this would be one that you would love to use all of your DSP up on, because it's a nice even cut of 3 by 3. You can get then 12 of them out of one sheet of paper. So awesome. So again, I'm going to show you, I textured this layer with the subtle embossing folder. Used, again, 2 different color ribbons just for some accents and difference. And then again, I did the phrase on a little word just to have it pop up like that. And this is, again, part of that Ornate Flower collection, Ornate Garden DSP collection. There's lots of very different looking floral patterns within there, and I love all of them, actually. Okay, then I'm gonna show you the one I took with this idea, and then I stepped it up the other way. So same papers, same basic sizes. I'm gonna raise this up a little bit because you can hopefully see the detail. In the embossing folder that I used in the background is the Dainty Diamonds. Not sure. White on white is so hard to see. I should have something else embossed so you could see it. Again, I used the Misty Moonlight ribbon, but I added the white tulle polka dots to it. And I did the double layering thing like I showed you on the Pooches one. So there's a Misty Moonlight layer on top of the Night of Navy layer. And then again, I used a little piece of scrap paper to do the Itty Bitty Greetings with the classic label punch. I thought, you know, even this is a, again, perfect layout to use over and over and over again for just about any occasion. And like I used on this one, like I said, I used some images. You could absolutely stamp an image, cut it out, or die cut it, or whatever, and place it on your DSP in the square. Would work just as well. If you don't have a particular DSP around, you can create your own version. Just cut a 3 by 3 square and stamp it with a bunch of little image stamps. If you've got flowers, whatever you have, or one large piece that you color, or something like that. This is, again, a great repeatable layout that you guys can do really quickly. Oh, I was going to point out one more thing on this one. I don't know if you can see it. I have pearls inside the little flower portions of this to kind of mimic the polka dot in the ribbon. Okay, so to review, here was the original with my version. And then the stepped up version of that being adding different layers, adding texture to your background, and then more layers here, and then multiple ribbons. You can go, if you guys have bling you want to use, like rhinestones, pearls, you can even add them into the background, you know, do the little 3 this way, or on the DSP itself, whatever makes sense with what you have there. And then here's the other 3, the 2 with the ornate garden. And finally, oh, Sue, DSP, sorry, designer series paper is what we call our, it'll have the same initial feeling, double-sided paper, printed papers. So we call ours designer series paper. So basically if you have any, it usually comes in a 12 by 12, and you're gonna have printing on one or both sides. So in our current catalog, and Sue, if you don't have one, let me know, I can get some out to you. They start on page 148. So here's the paper packs that have the patterns on both sides. They always show you what's on fronts or backs. Some of them are 6 by 6s, some of them are 12 by 12s. And then there's a couple more on that page there. So yeah, so DSP, again, double-sided paper or designer series paper concept. Thank you so much for asking, Sue. I sometimes forget that kind of shortcut or nickname or whatever you want to call it isn't always something that everybody catches on to or knows about. So thank you so much for saying something. That really will help out, I'm sure, someone else as well. Okay, so there you go. There are, again, the verticals, and we did a couple horizontals. So this is a really great one to use. Again, very simple. You can do that basically with probably anything you have on hand, which is really nice. Okay, I think that is pretty much it. Thank you guys all for watching tonight. If you missed any of it, it'll be on my Facebook page, and I will also upload it to my YouTube channel. So you can always find it there really quick and easy. As well, let's see, what was I gonna ask or say? Yeah, I think that was it. So it'll be there. Oh, and then make sure that you guys are uploading what you're making so we can all see it and love it and tell you how awesome you are. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your Monday, and I hope to see you next week for Make It With Me Monday.